Welcome back. Australia has just experienced one of its worst flu seasons on record, so it's no surprise we are all sick of being sick. Well, now Aussies are going to great lengths to avoid getting ill. A new survey revealing 75% of us have adopted new hygiene habits, while 10% of us refuse to go into the office at all.
Health and community psychologist Marnie Lishman joins us now from Perth. Marnie, it's great to have you here. The pandemic and a bad flu season. It's put us all on edge now. How common has health-related anxiety become?
Oh, it certainly has, and definitely health anxiety and germophobia has definitely increased over the last few years. Our brain's role is to protect us, so anything where it detects anything that could physically or psychologically harm us is going to be on edge. So there's nothing like a global pandemic over the last few years and a bad flu season to actually make us more hypervigilant and engage in lots of safety behaviours going forward to protect ourselves, so it's very understandable.
Many of us, or not us specifically, but a lot of people are avoiding going into the office for fear of getting sick at the moment, staying home and protecting themselves. How germy are workplaces?
Well, wherever there is workplaces, there's people, and some people can be quite germy, but there's so many factors, isn't there? I mean, there's people everywhere, so it's not just workplaces. Wherever we go, there's people, so unless you're living on an island by yourself, you're going to be at some sort of risk. So there's lots of factors involved there, and a lot of it has to do with the workplace procedures and protocols and what they've been putting in place in terms of keeping our workplaces hygienic. So there's a lot to think about. But yeah, there's so many factors, isn't there, individually and in terms of what the workplace does to keep their people safe.
Can this flip over from being germophobic, which sounds like a warmer term, to actually getting into some sort of obsessive disorders? Can we be on dangers of being on precipices of that?
Yeah, I think there's, the understandable health anxiety that I think a lot of the general population does have, again, and rightly so. But when we go to more of a germophobic type state, that is usually more of an irrational fear of germs. And we need to really be careful there, because then we can start getting quite obsessed and unnecessarily distress ourselves. And often will stop us doing a lot of things in life that we usually enjoy because we're so anxious about it. So we really need to be careful with that. There's a fine line between being anxious and doing something about it to keep ourselves healthy, but then you don't want to be obsessing too much and then being in distress a lot of the time, because that's not nice.
Well, tell us what we can do to calm those fears of germs.
I think, fear is a very powerful emotion, and we have to listen to it, but you've got to use it for good, not evil almost, and use it to do something about the fear. So what is that fear telling you? What is it telling you that you need to engage in? Do you need to make sure that you sit apart from people? Do you need to make sure that you wash your hands regularly and wash your hands before you eat? Use the fear to actually push into a problem-solving mode rather than just sitting in worry and distress.
So if it does become an issue, though, when should we seek professional help?
Yeah. So I think if you can't shift how you're feeling, and even conversations with your boss and the different hygienic behaviours you put in place are still distressing you, if you're finding that you're anxious a lot of the time, if you're obsessing and you can't shift your thinking, if you can't resist the constant urges to be hygienic and be clean, and also if you're finding that you're of low mood and you're quite miserable and you're stopping all the activities that you once enjoyed, it's time to start chatting with a health professional, because there's different cognitive tools that you can learn to actually ease the distress and be able to safely practice healthy behaviours that are usually more about problem solving than sitting in unnecessarily worry.
Great advice, Marnie Lishman. We appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us today.